on loggerheads, did you ever see them in the water or stick their heads up, or what were they doing, and what kind of animal was it that you were seeing?
On the loggerhead that would stick his nose up. I mean, in it, when a loggerhead comes, all you seen was his nose. And his nose, you couldn't hardly tell it from a greenhead. It'd be like his nose would be like a greenhead's head, whole head. But anyhow, he wouldn't make no commotion, no big paddling or splashing or nothing like that. He just eased to the top and the nose come up. And he just dropped back down. And if he was though, you could see where when he hit the bottom, you could see him, he'd start making bubbles and you could catch him. If he made a bubble, I could catch him.
Tell me about that night you went fishing with a couple black guys, or a black guy and a couple friends of yours.
Oh, we was gonna kill an alligator that night, yeah. And this fella said a colored fella would, alligator would, colored people would attract alligators. And
Did y'all rather have water or cold?
Terrell, he went?
You want anything to drink, Terrell?
No.
Okay. So tell me about the adventure with trying to hunt an alligator that night. What were you doing? Who were you with? Where were you at? Where were you going to hunt?
we took a colored fellow with us on purpose, and I had a shotgun sitting in front of the boat, and you headlight alligator better way to kill an alligator, the headlight. So as far as you can see him, 100 yards, his eye look like somebody's tail light. It's just that red, and you don't see but one eye. And anyhow, if you'll just paddle and be quiet and not bump the boat, you can get up and you shoot him with fine shot, which is number 6 or 8 or something like that. But you shoot, all you're gonna see is just his 2 eyes. You'll see one of them, but they'll be on a knob about like a fish. A big alligator, I don't care how big he is, he got that knob up there. And you get 8 or 10 foot of them and try to shoot that knob off. And that's all you're gonna see is alligator anyhow. And if you're successful, them fine shot will penetrate the hide. But we had this colored fella in a boat and come around the bend, and this alligator was up on top of the bank. And well, I don't know what he was doing up there, unless he just overslept up there or something. But anyhow, he come off that thing and landed right exactly across the boat. And it sunk the boat, and he was a big one. He was 12 foot long about. And anyhow, we lost the gun and headlights, everything that we had, we lost it. And we had to climb a cypress tree to creep it up a little bit. And we had to climb, or did climb a cypress tree, a small one. And then next morning try to get the hunt the guns and stuff. But we did get the boat. I got the boat myself.
Tell me about how many piles of turtles and what were they piles of between the bridges? How many piles of turtles would you put up between the bridges?
You had to ask me that over.
When you're turtling during the daytime, you're catching turtles and you put them in the shallows. Tell me how many piles of turtles and what kind of animals they are. They're loggerheads. I'm trying to get you to say,
yeah.
I put up loggerheads, about 2 or 3 piles, about how many turtles each?
No, I never had to put over one pile up and go. I could haul 8 to 10 easy, pretty easy. And of course, I had to get that many in the boat and figure out how much further it was on down to the landing. And if I had a pretty good piece to go, I'd put them in the shallow. But it would be about 8 or 10 usually.
Would you ever find any turtles with other loggerheads inside of them? Tell me about that.
No, I've caught big ones that something had bit the hull, and there'd be near about a quarter of the hull gone on the back, on the tail end, on one side or the other. So I got some pictures of them in the house.
Tell me about Juke Boxes.
Well, when they changed from the 45 to,
What
from
were they? What was it?
the Juke Boxes, they changed from the 78 RPM to the 45. And a man, Mr. Ford, give me all the Juke Boxes, the 78s that was out, if I'd pick them up. And he put in 45, they changing over from the big record, 78 RPM, to the little 45. He had 24 selection on the 78, and the 45, first 45, you had 50 selection or up. And when they changed over, they put this other one in, plug it up, put the record on it, start playing. And then I'd go the next day and pick up that jukebox. And I'd pick up 7, 8 a day, because he's putting out that many at a time.
What'd you do with those, and how much money did you make?
Now, I didn't make none. I lost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, but not just warehousing, because I junked the boxes out, put the metal in.
How much were you making on
I've had over 100 in my yard that would play at one time. And now they bring about 3,500 or more each.
When you ran that auction, Ellsworth was the banker. How much money would come in on a Saturday night, and what night was it, and what reason?
Ellsworth wasn't the banker when I was running the auction. That was Carmichael. The name was Carmichael. And he's the one that opened the bank for me.
And what kind of money would you bring in, and what were you doing to bring in that money? And what night was it?
It was Saturday night would be the auction night, and Sunday morning when he cashed my check. Well, the amount would be $25,000, something like that.
The amount was how much in what year?
And no, this is a night.
Right. Well, what year? What year was this? 1964, 1958, 1965, 67?
Let's see. Just trying to think. Our daughter was in Germany.
Probably the 1960s.
And we were in business now about 25 years.
It was the 60s, wasn't it?
It was later, it was around 70. See, we made that film in 62, I believe.
Tell me about Model A and Model T cars, and what kind of cars were they, and what'd you do with them?
Well, I'd buy them.
You'd buy what?
I'd buy them for junk.
What kind of cars?
A model and T model and any kind of old car, I'd buy and junk. I was in the junk business at that time, and I've drove them in here and turned them up on the side and cut them up just for the scrap of wood, and they bring about $12, $15. Cut up and deliver. See, what if I'd saved a bunch of them?
Yeah, that'd been nice.
I've had over 100 out there at one time.
Of what? You had 100 of what? How
I've
many?
had 100 antique cars out there at one time. Whole ones.
What's the best way to catch an alligator with a blackbird? How do you do it? And what kind of bird is it? And what are you catching?
Well, anywhere there's alligators, you take a limb that's hanging out of the water, split it, make a split in it with your knife, and you can get far enough out to do that, make you punch you, split your hole through that. You can take this blackbird and a big hook, but the hook ain't gonna, it's gonna be deep, he gonna swallow it deep. Anyhow, he's gonna come along and the bird's gonna be hanging about 12 inches above the water with your hook. And then you're gonna have all kinds of slack just laying up on the limb. And the alligator will get the bird and he swallows it. The alligator swallows anything fast. If it's swallowable, you know, if it's small enough. And anyhow, when he gets hooked with that hook in his stomach, he'll go to the bottom and he'll roll and twist and give out. And he'll usually tangle himself up some and drown right there. Alligator drown just as quick as a human will. In other words, he can't hold his breath much longer than a person can.
How far up north did you go when you were hauling produce, and what were you hauling? And how close to Canada did you get?
I've been to Benton Harbor, Michigan, and I've been in about 40 miles of Canada.
And what were you hauling up there, and how close to what?
Apples, peaches, tomatoes, and grapes, and anything. I was going to the Benton Harbor market mostly. And I'd buy it off of the market. They'd bring it to the farmers, all bring it to the market, and you go there and you'd buy it.
Tell me about Shy Ram and what was that all about?
Who?
Shy Ram?
He's the one that sold the oranges
What
for
was his name?
Shy Ram.
Who was he?
Well, he's I'm gonna call him a Dago. He was
Had a grocery store.
yeah, he had a grocery store, but he's the one I sold the oranges to, and he'd run them on special. And Jet in the Jungle and the A&P and all that there couldn't compete with that kind of price. 12 cents a dozen. Penny a piece. He wasn't making nothing off of the thing, because he was giving me 2.5. I was paying 50 cents. He gave me 2.5, but the count was 288. But it was just a calling card, what it was.
Tell me how many acres of land, and say acres of land. I've started out with this much and went that much, and now I have this much around here.
Well, I give so much of it away, food.
What did you give away?
Well, I give that 20 acres up yonder in the shop. I give that boy down there some. I give that daughter of mine 40 acres. And I wound up with I started out with 27 acres. And I wound up with 140. Started out with 1 acre.
And then you got up to 160 or 140?
140.
How much per acre? And what were you buying?
Oh, you could buy land. I paid $150 an acre for 40 acres. But back in them times, you could actually buy land for its tax. Go to the courthouse, and people that hadn't paid and delinquent. And they had so many days to pay it off. If they